don't
I'm
like
still
taking
here.
tough food. You said it. The eyes small of them.
Have you checked with Rick at all? About calling in or anything? No?
I don't know why you're thinking.
Or Randy?
Ain't did any good.
Okay.
I've backed off that.
Hey, DJ.
Thing fully,
Yeah.
Is everyone talking into the speakers right now, or are they
Spread
just
it out
kind of
over all
around the
of them.
room?
Okay.
They'd appreciate it.
You guys done? You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Alright.
I can hear conversation, but nothing like, you know, I didn't know if everyone's speaking into their speakers right now or not.
Yeah, we'll move them closer.
Okay.
Alright. We'll call the Vermilion County special meeting to order, please, if you'll rise for the pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What is that?
Maybe that'll be better.
I'll move them up there.
I don't know, is there a microphone?
No.
Put one right
Here.
by it.
Put him down there. Yeah, put him down there. See if that works.
I think that helps. Okay. We'll have roll call. Mr. Costello.
I'm here on phone.
Okay. Mr. Costello is with us on the phone line. Mr. Weir. Mr. Somerville.
Here.
Mr. Bush.
Here.
Mrs. James, I'm here. Mr. Dreer. And Mr. Brown.
Here.
All right. We do have approval of minutes from our previous meeting from November 10th. Did anyone have any corrections or comments or concerns regarding the minutes? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion for Mr. Brown, a second for Mr. Somerville to approve the Vermilion County Council meeting minutes from November 10th, 2021. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, since he is on the phone, we do have to do a roll call vote. Neil?
Aye.
Kelly?
I was absent.
So I vote aye, yes. And
Brown, aye.
yes, okay. So minutes are approved. We do have one open issue today, that is the Town of Dana's request for their water tower project. They sent us a request asking for use of our county ARP funds in the amount of $500,000. We did advertise an additional appropriation of the total amount of their cost of their project that they are needing to be funded at $703,000. Any amount up to that $703,000 could be appropriated. We did advertise at the highest limit for all cases involved. So. Does anyone have any discussion regarding the use of the ARP funds?
I backed off a little, but I think we should give them the 500 they're asking for and kind of spread it out between all the towns.
Just to update everyone, I guess, on the ARP funds. Right now, we currently have 1.5 million. We were awarded 3 million in total. We won't receive the additional amount until next spring. So that is where we currently stand with our balance.
It'd be nice to know what these other towns are needing, really. But
Yeah. There's going to be planned meetings on how to spend this. It's still continuing, correct?
To spend the ARP money, it actually involves us and the commissioners. You have to have both parties in agreement. So theoretically, we will have to work together to come up with a plan on what projects to fund and how. And so even though if we approve it today, the commissioners still have to approve it at their meeting. We did get a request from St. Bernice Water Corporation. They're looking into, get the wording right here, a preliminary engineering report. And they're asking for $40,000 to have that report done, and then they expect to seek grant funding for any future construction projects. So it sounds like they will have some projects here in the near future as well. I believe Universal had just done a water project, is that right? And then also Cayuga has also had some water repairs as well. I don't know if those are completed or if they will have future, but those are the ones I know of off the top hand.
We need to find out about that, whether we can use it for stuff that's done or not already.
The culverts, is that yay or nay?
He's saying like water projects that are
Oh, yeah.
have already been done. The culverts were another question that were asked of Baker Tilly. Baker Tilly said that yes, stormwater projects are eligible. We've had a lot of culverts and bridges repairs in this past year that have depleted a lot of our funds.
Ashley, or the bridge budget currently has been fairly well spoken for, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? As far as the county using that to make repairs on its structures? We did appropriate pretty much everything we had in the Cume Bridge Fund because we were in need. They had a couple of bridges, one got hit with somebody that didn't have insurance, so that one was one of the expenses we weren't expecting to incur. Mother Nature didn't help us any this year either. So we did appropriate it. I don't believe they've actually spent it all yet, but they're trying to decide, from what I understand, an order of importance. They also have a list of potential ones, I think, that are going to need work done in the future that aren't failing right now, but could fail. And without those being funded locally or through the Cume Bridge, then they didn't have there was really no plan and any other way to pay for those. So the ARP funds may be able to be used for that, but we don't know yet, unless I'm wrong, we don't know yet what the total expenses are going to be for all those repairs.
No, I have not heard a total repair, like cost on repairs. I know the two that have actually closed the county roads, they have some estimates on those, and I believe they're looking around almost $200,000 for those two. What was that?
Right.
So, funding wise, yeah, the Cume Bridge wouldn't, if it came down to it, we'd have to look towards the general fund to put into to fund the expenses if we didn't have any more money in the highway budget.
DJ, do you know on the county's ARP funds, or for any county for that matter in Indiana, those funds, can the county use those funds to apply toward private water companies or municipal owned water companies or something other than a county agency? How that was a question I've asked, and I don't really have a straight answer on that yet as far as I know what the projects that are eligible, but right. I assume that Baker Tilly was thinking, yeah, those are Vermilion County projects, stormwater and such.
Right.
But we don't have a water treatment plant. The county doesn't own a water treatment plant or doesn't maintain one. So as far as like St. Bernice Water Works, if that's a private entity, I assume it is. It's not an incorporated town, so there's no municipality that would own the waterworks. So if they wanted $40,000,
right.
Or needed $40,000, and
right,
Dana needed $500,000, they're a municipal, so that's different.
I believe they could, but that's something we can look into just to double check.
Yeah, because I say, if the county pledges money to something, and can they actually do that? So that's
right.
kind of what I've been asking.
We can look into that,
Okay.
Bill, you guys are gonna go ahead and start that either way, right? With or without our help?
Our user fees go up $86 a night.
I understand, but you plan on going ahead? going through with it? I mean, you got no, huh? Yes.
Has there been any, I guess over the last few years, since you know that the water tower is going to be replaced, have you like tried to raise rates incrementally to save back for the water tower project?
There was a rate increase a few years back, 15% rate increase. I don't know exactly when that was. I know I voted on it, I suggested it, but I don't remember exactly when that was. I want to say it was right in front of doing the repair work on the water mains and the fire hydrants and the valve, replacing the isolation valves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the second phase of a two-phase project. The first phase was to fix the leaks in town so they didn't continue to have leaks, and because at that time there was still a potential that they might regionalize and buy water maybe from Vermilion Rise, and they didn't want a leaky system and paying for water that was being lost. So that project was essentially phase one, and this is phase two, the fixing up the storage needs and the water treatment plant.
How long ago then was phase one?
5 years. 5 years.
Because we were sent the IDEM report for the inspection survey from August of 2020, and it said in there like the significant deficiencies on the water tower, but they had also been noted back in the survey in 2017, and so that's just why I asked, is like, I know at least in 2017 they were significant, so I'm expecting there were probably minor deficiencies in years before that. If there was, is that when you guys started your phased approach at fixing things, or I guess knowing that you're going to have future problems, I guess to be proactive on the cost. I didn't know if there were anything implemented.
There was a preliminary engineer report that recommended each phase that was completed in 2014, 15, and that started the first project and then resulted in this project that we're coming to now.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions for anyone in the room?
If we do the water project, are we going to look at dividing the rest of it up for other water projects? And how's that opened up? And how do we get a recommendation from the commissioners after we leave here? It sounds like we're doing it backwards.
I won't necessarily disagree with doing this backwards. Unfortunately, we've had a few requests come in at, a rather short time period to evaluate our county needs. Broadband, 2 proposals were heard last week, and we've had 2 requests for water now in the last 2 weeks. Culverts have happened, so everything's kind of come at once. We haven't had a chance to talk with the commissioners to get their thoughts and feelings on it either. My suggestion would be that we have a joint meeting to discuss a plan for the county, just because we don't have a plan at this point. There are multiple things that we could fund with the ARP money, and I think collectively we need to discuss them and get cost ideas of what each project would cost. I mean, in order to be able to say, yes, we can divide it out this way or that way.
I would find a lot more comfort in that and come up with a list of everything that's wanted and find out how to divide it up to help everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And,
I'm sure there's more needs than we realize. I mean, unfortunately, we don't necessarily hear them until after one's been brought to us. That's my biggest concern about the water projects, is I find it highly unlikely that these are the only 2 projects in the county. So.
Well, today's meeting was because Dana needs it by the 30th, right?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
I mean, can't you get the money later?
One more time, sir, I'm sorry.
Well, can't you go ahead and get started and we approve the money for you later?
We cannot do that. We're getting loan money as well from the Indiana State Revolving Loan Fund. For them to be able to close the loan for us, we have to have all of the financing available for the project. They don't want to fund part of a project and find out the project can't be completed because there's enough money to fund the rest of it. So we're in a fairly tight timeline to close our, to keep our loan closing date, which is December 15th. So we've got a pre-closing on December 1st. We'd have to have all the information to the state log loan fund by December 1st in order to move forward with the project.
So we need to have our meeting pretty quick.
When was the loan applied for?
Eric, what would be the, probably what?
Initially, it was
April?
applied for in early 2020. That's when the PPR was submitted to SRF.
Okay. The State Revolving Loan Fund has a funding cycle that, they're on a fiscal year that's July 1st to July 1st. So you have to apply by, I think it was, the PPR by April 1st of this year to be able to be in the funding program for their July to July program. And we also got grant money from the State Revolving Loan Fund. We've asked everybody for grant money we can get.
Mhm.
And that grant money was conditioned on being able to close prior to March 31st. And then we had our engineering bids that came in, and because interest rates are going to raise in the State Revolving Loan Fund next year, we're trying to get into the interest rates. This year we got 2% for our loan money, so we'd have to close this year to be able to lock into the fixed interest rate at 2% for this year.
Okay.
So there's lots of things moving.
So this has been
We
a
got construction bids that expiring.
ongoing process.
The grant extension process is in there too, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
we had to get extension on our local grant closing because we're, had to rebid the project because the first project came in high and we rebid again, it came in a little bit higher. So we had to get an extension on our local grant.
Were you able to find out if the $120,000 that Dana received in the ARP money, was that eligible to be matched?
I haven't asked that. I did ask the SRF if they would match the full 7.3 if the county was kind enough to give us the full 7.3. They said they would. I'll go back and ask them if they can match the 120. The original offer from the SRF was that they would match any additional money the county came up.
Okay.
That offer came in after the county had already, or after the town had already committed their offer.
Yes, yes.
Have you been approved for that loan for $1.5 million? For the balance?
We're not approved until we go through the loan closing, which means the engineers and the attorneys have to get all the documents together.
Will you be?
If we raise rates to 86, we will be. Because the rates have to support the financing. So that's why we need to raise the rates. And it depends on how much money you give us and how high we have to raise rates. If you don't give us any money, we have to raise rates to $86. If you give us the 500,000, we raise rates to, I think it's 57. If you give us the 703, we raise rates to 47. So there are different levels and we have to raise rates. And the SRF will lend us the money to show based on how much we raise rates, because we have to show that we can pay the money back that we're borrowing from.
Well, I don't see it happening by the 30th.
We just need a commitment from you. It doesn't need.
Well, how can we even commit if we haven't all got together and figured out what we're doing? I mean, we can't commit today.
I mean, I'm looking at the chart you gave us for the minimum, the monthly minimum. Like their current is right under $18, and so the proposed would be $40. Is that with or without the county helping?
This is without the county helping.
So, okay, so for the proposed amount would be $39.89 a month for the monthly minimum. I mean, I understand that's not necessarily everyone's bill, but I also look at Perrysville. Their monthly minimum is $44. Universal's at $39.62. My concern is that if those other towns are likely going to say, "Hey, we need help too." How much? I don't know, but I look at that and I say, those are the three highest. They would be Dana, Perrysville, and Universal. So, I mean, I see this as being a definite concern for the county. I mean, water is very important, and I understand like the need and the rush, but I wish we knew the other needs as well.
You have to.
Because obviously there's some other water companies struggling too, because the rates are showing it. So.
Can you go through the plans the way they are now and then lower that back down if you get the money? That's
We
monthly.
cannot. The state revolving loan fund loan money has what's called call protection on it for 10 years, which is a very standard feature in revenue bonds. So once we issue the debt, we have to hold on to it at least 10 years.
Do you have to hold on to all of it, or can you pay it down?
We cannot pay it in advance. The SRF isn't a state agency that has just money sitting around. They actually borrow money on their own to pay off the loan portfolio. So they try to match the money they lend out with the money they have to pay back on what they borrowed. So we have what's called 10 years call protection, which means we would not be able to pay anything that part of it back until that 10-year call protection period is passed.
Is there another phase of the project after this second phase?
No.
No. Because I thought when you spoke last time that there would be more repairs needed after the water tower.
Try to talk.
Neil, did you say something?
No.
Okay.
Can you repeat your
Yeah, so after the water tower, I was thinking that you had said there would be additional work later on certain, like, I don't know if it was pumps or things or something that needed replaced.
That's what the rate increase is going to be for, is to put money aside to have money in the future to do those repairs.
Okay, so there is a need in the future for more.
Well, there will be, it's just operational.
Those are both short-term asset replacements. We build into rate money into short-term asset replacement. Every rate schedule does that, so that the rates are supported on the full budget for the utility. What we're borrowing money for are the long-term assets that we have to replace, the tower, what else is there?
It's not another project per se. What it is
Generally,
there's a component of the rate increase that will allow there to be a fund in the water account to handle repairs on an annual basis, which right now they don't have the funds to do.
Okay.
I guess the thing with this project is it's already going. It's not one's being planned or anything else. You know, they've started a phase and finished it. Now they're getting ready to do the final phase, is my comment to it.
we also have the matching on it, which is very unusual, and we want to make sure, and we know you understand. But that's a nice feature that will bring you can double the effect of your money.
There's a dollar match.
Yeah.
I think that's really the key to
That's the key right there.
The whole
If you don't
vote.
get it now, you're gonna not get the
You're not
match,
gonna
right?
get the match later.
So it'll be twice as much.
Yeah.
The other thing is that since we started this project and present day, there's been a pandemic, a supply chain shortage, everything else that goes along with inflation of the cost of over $1 million more than what was estimated. So
Right.
that's why we're asking for part of the county's American Relief Fund.
Well, for what it's worth, I say give them the 500,000 they're asking for, but I'm 1 out of 10, I guess.
Any action would require a motion and a second, and then 4 votes as well. So.
And then we need the commissioners.
Right, yeah, the commissioners still ultimately have to discuss it again tomorrow,
Okay.
so.
Do we want to look at it's not that I don't want to help the project, but do we want to look at different possible numbers to give so it can be split up better? 500,000 is not going to get split up as well as,
Well, we got 3 million.
yeah,
So how many projects are we talking about?
potential.
4 or 5.
I keep hearing 12 at different
Oh, I
meetings,
heard
Hey,
12.
TJ,
12 possible.
could we, like, table it and then not necessarily adjourn the meeting, but recess it until after the commissioners? And then
Then come back.
And then come
tomorrow.
back, like, even on the 29th, since it's a holiday?
You could table it till then.
I mean, because we've already have, since it would not be an adjournment, you wouldn't have to re-advertise it?
Yeah,
Like,
because,
do a continuation?
yeah. I think you Yeah, 'cause
maybe.
I see what you're saying.
The only option, really.
Because
I
then,
wanna help.
if the commissioners have
Pardon?
a
I wanna
recommendation,
help.
then we can just do it all in once and not have to come back and redo. Because if not, if we
There's no
do a
time.
different amount than if they decide, then we're gonna have to adjust it.
Right. You could do some type of,
But if, for
range,
advertising
well.
purposes, if we have to call a new meeting, we won't be able to
Right.
advertise it in time.
Right.
So as we just, not adjourn this meeting, but
You're a
recess
smart
it.
lady.
So, I mean, that way
you
it's.
could do a range as well, if you wanted to give the commissioners some type of
Well, with the appropriation though, I have to have an amount.
leeway, well, yeah. Well, not to, you might be able to do not to exceed.
So, I mean, that may be, just so everything would be in line, if they would agree to it. What do you think about that, Marty?
We don't have a choice.
What's that?
If
Adjourn?
We don't
They'll-
adjourn, but we
they'll leave
recess
double
the
time.
meeting
Yeah,
until like the
something's not
29th.
done.
And so that way the commissioners can have a recommendation, if they have an amount, and we can do the actual appropriation then without having to re-advertise.
Is there a possibility of meeting in that time too?
They have a meeting tomorrow morning.
So,
Yeah, so if they have no amount though, then you're effectively
Starting over.
won't have a meeting.
Starting over.
so, but they have to approve an amount too.
Mhm.
So if they
Oh,
wanna,
yeah.
if they wanna do it, they're gonna have to approve an amount tomorrow. So, cause it ultimately comes down to what they decide in the end.
What time's our meeting tomorrow?
8:15.
8:15?
I just don't wanna get us in a situation where we can't re-advertise it in enough time.
Yeah.
If we have to change it based on what they say.
That's smart.
So,
So we just need to pick a number then, and not to exceed?
Oh.
Wait for
Or you
them?
could just do the recess and you can wait and see what they do.
okay. Cause we have everything on our end, like advertised and full amounts and everything, so that way, whatever comes around, we are ready to.
So the 703 is the advertised amount?
We advertise at the max just to cover the
Covered.
bases.
Gotcha.
The payroll completely.
Mm-hmm. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Keep the water.
Especially with the holidays coming up with the advertising, I don't know how that works with the paper.
I have to have everything in tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Before Saturday.
So yeah, that we wouldn't be able to call it an additional before they would need their answer.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
It doesn't shut them down.
No, it doesn't.
And it gives
but it gives the
a possible meeting with us and, I would like to have that, I mean, I know it's gonna be squeezed in, but they're gonna meet tomorrow, I suppose, so.
Neil, did you catch all that?
Yes.
Okay.
What does he think?
You have thoughts on that?
About a meeting for tomorrow?
No, the commissioners meet tomorrow, and we can't, even if we give a number, then the commissioners could come back and change that. So if we not necessarily adjourn our meeting, but continue it on the 29th if needed, that way we would have an exact amount that the commissioners are willing to pledge. We can make sure that our appropriation matches and would not have to re-advertise the appropriation or the meeting. Because due to constraints of Dana's time limit, they have to know by the end of November, and we're running out of days to advertise meetings in the newspaper.
Right.
So we could recess our meeting, so that way we're
Yeah.
still underneath the advertisement from the original meeting.
I got that, yeah.
Okay.
But if you wanted to set another meeting with the commission,
I don't
Oh.
know if we can.
yeah, I don't.
I don't think you have
I mean,
time.
you could.
It would be going to their meeting tomorrow to talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Okay.
I mean, do the commissioners, does anyone know what they're thinking right now?
No.
Because I really doubt they're gonna walk into the room tomorrow and have some number in their head.
That's true, and that'd be
Well,
I mean, just
they're,
another problem.
Looking at it from that standpoint.
but if they're going to be willing to give anything, they have to make up their mind tomorrow too, because they're out of time.
Right, but I would say, I don't, what are the chances of all three commissioners tomorrow saying, yeah, that's the number, let's do this? I don't know. I didn't know if anyone knew if they already had that planned or in mind.
No, I don't.
Tim's wanting to use it for broadband. RJ seemed to agree that it'd be better spent with water.
And I haven't talked to them individually. I don't know personally what everything. So,
Definitely wanna give them a heads
Well, I'm
up.
still concerned about the list of bridges and culverts that Commissioner Luther brought to our attention, that no one had any idea how they're gonna pay for that.
that's another.
Because you could destroy the Cume Bridge budget for years with that amount, and that doesn't include the things that keep piling on in the meantime, which is my concern for the county. So, and it's a huge issue. And no one wants to, I mean, I'm not saying they don't want to talk about it, because they have talked about it, but, you know, these funds you could be looking at millions of dollars in repairs on that as they come in, if other sources of funding aren't available for those bridge repairs.
This has nothing to do with bridges.
What?
The culverts.
Culverts, but not bridges.
Right, but but the Cume Bridge account is used for culverts as well, and so if we use the Cume Bridge for the culverts, then we don't have the money for the bridges.
Well, I think we should go ahead and fund those 2 culverts that need done, for sure.
Possibly more.
If there's more now, then.
And that would have
That's
to
what
come
we
from
need
the
to plan.
commissioners first too.
Yes.
Well, and there's also, you know, ditching projects. They talked about hiring contractors to do ditching projects and such. You know, that's stormwater management too. So any projects like that are floating around that no one wants to address right now because the money's not there, you know, those are issues that I would like to see the commissioners raise, you know, the awareness of what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's important.
No, from a funding standpoint, we need to know what to expect on all these fronts.
Exactly.
So, okay, well, I'm sorry you don't have an exact answer, but we are set up to be able to get it done by the 30th if needed. So,
Are any of you 3 gonna be tomorrow's commissioners meeting?
Yeah, 8:15 in the morning,
right.
I will be here.
I'll be here.
It is
I'll be
8:15.
here.
Okay.
You will be.
Yeah, I'm coming. But I think we need to all.
When are we recessing to on the 29th? 10 a.m. again, or?
What?
Yeah, we don't have anything on the 29th, no meetings or anything.
There's nothing on the calendar.
Right, or it may be unnecessary depending on what they do.
True. So we'll have a tentative.
We've also got St. Bernice needing that 40,000 right now too, so.
Right
that
now,
needs
or
to be
by the 29th.
Well-
Was it advertised?
just soon, I think.
There wasn't a date on the letter,
No.
Was it advertised?
but I think
That
it's
that
in the
money
near,
is to get started on their water project.
sooner than later. They're asking sooner than later, but it's not necessarily November 30th,
No.
right?
We need to ask the commissioners to give us a recommendation, what they would like. And then we can say yes or no.
Theoretically, that's how it's supposed to work.
That's how it's set up.
They're not in any hurry, we have till 2026.
It doesn't always work like that.
So,
Till
well,
2026 to spend it.
we will tentatively schedule one for the 29th then, and then that way we are prepared if,
You know what time?
what time works for everyone?
Don't matter to me.
Whatever, I'll peel out, I guess, if I can.
Marty? You have-
I'm good, with the exception of like 8 o'clock, I think I have to be at South Romeo. 8 o'clock at night,
Oh, 8 o'clock at night?
so we need time before that.
Okay. You guys let me know. So,
Yeah. We'll see.
Neil,
Yes.
if we meet on the 29th, do you have a recommended time?
Even 5 o'clock, 6.
No, I'll make arrangements, whatever's suggested by the rest of the council.
Like during the day or in the evening?
I'll make arrangements to be there one way or the other. I couldn't be there today, I knew that, but I don't have anything for the 29th, so I'll block it out.
Okay.
Whatever works best for most.
Okay. Well, you want to do 10 a.m. again? That way we're at least here with everybody in the courthouse. That'll be here.
Right.
And then, if we don't have enough, then we can always adjust the time. So I'll reach out to Rick and Randy to see if they can make 10 o'clock. If not, we'll try to make something else work.
Yeah.
So, is that all right? All right, so tentatively on November 29th at 10 a.m., we'll re-adjourn, dependent upon what the commissioners come up with tomorrow. Neil, did you hear the time?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, I got that.
Just checking.
Is anybody gonna reach out to the commissioners and give them a heads up on what we're needing?
Yeah, I'll send them a email.
I guess you're gonna actually have to give us an answer.
Yeah, they need an answer
One way or
tomorrow.
the other.
Yeah, we're running out of time, they have to. Yeah, do you,
So my question right now is, are we waiting on the commissioners to come up with a dollar amount to fund for this project, or are we going to let them say yea or nay to the project?
both,
Both.
essentially. I mean, they have to say yea or nay, and then they have to give an amount of what they're willing to put towards it. One, because you need a dollar amount, and two, we need a dollar amount for the additional appropriation.
Correct.
And with that, we can make whatever we want, but if they don't approve it, then we're back to square one and we have to readjust it.
So with that being said, it's $703,000 to you guys, it's $1.6 million to the town of Dana. So
And that'll be
You
the,
guys know that, so.
yeah, to make sure the commissioners know that tomorrow. I mean, because in this case, it does take both,
Thank you.
so. All right, any other questions, concerns, comments, anyone?
Do you need to set the St. Renee's for December?
Yeah, put it on December. Okay. All right, so do I need a motion to recess, or how do we do that?
I would just call and recess and
Okay.
say we'll re-adjourn.
Doug?
Just for clarification, so that, you hear you say St. Denis would be not addressed at the 29th meeting, but in December?
Yeah.
For clarification.
We'll see how, well, we're hoping to have some clearer thoughts on the direction of which way to use the AOP money. And then we'll tentatively put the St. Bernice as discussion on the December agenda. So that way we will know, since they don't have an actual like November 30th deadline.
Thank you.
That, okay? All right. All right, we will recess then till the 29th. Thank you.
Thanks, see you.
Thanks, Neil.
See you, Neil.
Just hang on there, Neil, we'll get with